You clicked on Movie Monkey channel. Listen. I will explain a sci-fi drama thriller from 2013. With the imminent war with China, Britain's Ministry of Defense, through an underground base, produce a brain implant that allows brain-damaged soldiers to regain lost functions. A patient whose name is Paul Dawson has a head with heavy damage from gun battle. Scientist Vincent McCarthy is conducting a test on the brain implant embedded on Paul's head. Paul is unresponsive at first but starts to react when the implant was turned on by his assistant, Lucy. Paul immediately asked if he can see his mother. Rather than answering, Vincent asks what his mother looked like. Paul could not remember anything. Vincent chooses to ignore Paul's request to see his mother. He starts a psych test for Paul. Vincent switches the location of a ball from A to B, intentionally showing to Paul what he'd done, but apparently hiding it from Lucy, who leaves the area on purpose. Lucy comes back after the switch. When asked about the new location of the ball, he answered directly, not being bothered that the assistant didn't know about the switch. This lack of empathy and Paul's failure to remember his past led Vincent to conclude that his project is going nowhere. Seemingly, Paul is upset from Vincent's ignoring his request to see his mother. While Vincent argues with Lucy, Paul secretly picked up the pen on the table, then stabbed Vincent in the chest. Paul turned to Lucy, then stabbed her repeatedly, still using the pen. Paul then bangs Lucy's head to the rescuing guard, causing the guard to slam to the floor. He picks up the guard's weapon, then shoots him in rapid burst. Paul apologizes to Vincent before being shot by another guard on the premises. Vincent's daughter has a neurological disorder. At home, he feeds her through a tube using an oversized syringe. The child makes unnecessary hand movements and seems unwary of her surroundings. Vincent is looking for a programmer that can help him in his work. In one of the tests he conducts, a robotic program had answered his questions satisfactorily that he hires the programmer on the spot. The programmer is named Ava. On her way home, the robotic computer program tells Ava that she had done a mistake during Vincent's questioning. She answers window instead of puppy, that the theoretical Mary in the question must want the puppy instead of the window. The robotic program stresses that Vincent is clever and that she wanted more talk with him. On her first day, Ava was preparing her passport to present to the guard when an older woman pulled open her car door. The woman is in agitated manner looking for her son, which Ava later known was Paul Dawson, the soldier who died in mishap while being experimented by Vincent. It seems the woman was told that her son is nowhere inside the facility but insists that his son was there. Ava was arrested by the guards when she tried to protect the woman. Vincent told Ava that Paul Dawson died 2 years ago. Now it's evident that they turned Paul into a cyborg. But Ava was not told further about it. Worse, Vincent told Ava that Paul's mother is mentally deranged. Suri, a woman cyborg who lost her ability to talk, seemed to be getting information from a computer, then she deletes an important dossier about her own plot to revolt. Ava meets the cyborg soldiers that lost their ability to talk as a result of brain implants given to them. They guard the basement facility. Unknown to the facility, the cyborgs developed a discreet way of communicating with fellow cyborgs. Meanwhile, Suri burns the cyborg who discovered her plot of revolution. Ava meets Thompson, the chief of the facility, in Vincent's laboratory. James, a cyborg man with no arms, is presented to Ava. A robot prosthetic arm is attached to James's arms. He demonstrates his power by pulverizing a toy marble using his grips. Later, Ava gives in to James's request to hold her hand using the robot arm. Suddenly, James pulled Ava to dance a tango. Thompson and Vincent didn't notice that actually it was James's ploy to ask help from Ava about their situation in Area 6. Later, Vincent performed scanning session of Ava's brain. Vincent evades Ava's inquisitive questions about Area 6 that James mentioned to Ava. Vincent tells Ava that Area 6 is the place for badly damaged soldiers that survives only through the facility's efforts. Suri shows Thompson Ava tinkering with the computers. Then Ava pulled what seems to be a flash drive from it. This leads to Thompson into thinking that Ava is hacking their computers. On their way home, Ava asks Vincent why he stays in the facility if he hates it in the first place. Vincent confesses that he does it to find cure or brain transplant to her daughter who has a Rett syndrome. Ava correctly deduced that her brain scan would be used by Vincent to correct whatever is wrong with her daughter's brain and that he's using government's money for personal gain. Vincent couldn't object to Ava's deduction. Down the road, Ava saw Paul's mother walking a long way. Ava alights from Vincent's vehicle to console the woman. In split second, Ava realized she was tricked. The person is disguising as Paul's mother. The person who has Chinese features mercilessly stabs Ava with a knife, killing her instantly. In Thompson's office, his large screen for playing golf changes into the Ava's stabbing incident. It is clear, he's behind the killing. He continued playing like it was nothing. The irritating part, Thompson himself suggested to Vincent to use Ava's face on their project. Then the machine in Ava's configuration came into being. Psych tests were conducted, memories, wants, fears. One of Vincent's assistants wore a fearful clown's mask, then he slowly walked back to the machine. While backing, he abruptly turned around that shocked the machine. In her uncanny swiftness, the machine forcefully poked her index finger to the temple of the male assistant, killing him instantly. There were no time for anybody to react. The machine apologizes and wanted the man fixed, which Vincent tells her it cannot be done. The machine did not speak with Vincent for a while. The health of Vincent's daughter got worse from infection in the lungs. Vincent continued the scanning of her daughter's brain while bedridden in the hospital. While attending to her, Thompson persuaded the machine to kill the Chinese man who killed Ava. When the machine did nothing, Thompson removed the handcuffs of the Chinese man and gives him a knife. The machine was obliged to defend herself to the point of breaking some bones of the Chinese. When Thompson asks why she didn't kill him, the machine reasons out that the man can no longer hurt anybody in those state. But Thompson do not easily buckle. He further pursued what he meant to be done. When Vincent arrives, he found the machine hiding under the table. With further questioning, the machine confesses that Thompson made her kill a man. On one conversation with Vincent, the machine declares she's in love with Vincent, but Vincent missed it because he answered a phone call concerning his daughter. When Vincent leaves again for her daughter, Thompson continued persuading and training the machine to become an assassin. Then, Vincent's daughter dies from the surgery. He was devastated. Thompson sees the machine as a weapon and insists on Vincent to make her such. However, Vincent insists that the machine is alive, to which Thompson doesn't believe. Later, upon Thompson's insistence to prove that the machine is alive, Vincent finally concluded that the machine has consciousness, which Thompson did not like. Thompson insists to operate on the machine to remove its consciousness because it will pose danger to mankind itself in the future. Then, Thompson threatens to delete brain scan of Vincent's daughter saved on the facility if Vincent refuses to remove the machine's consciousness. Vincent tells the machine what Thompson wants. The machine tells Vincent she could be lesser human if that's what Vincent wants, and that the machine would gladly do it for the sake of Vincent's daughter. Vincent had no choice. He operated on the machine. He removed something from her head. Vincent showed the piece to his helper, Tim, that actually was brought by Thompson to spy on the machine's structure. After the operation, Thompson tells Vincent he would proceed to the deletion of her daughter's brain scan stored in the facility. Vincent was enraged in Thompson's indiscretion. A taser was used to Vincent to render him powerless. Thompson kept him in a cell for prisoners. The machine was trained further as a soldier without consciousness. As a final test, the machine was given an assault rifle to shoot Vincent. The machine clicked the gun's trigger. Thank God, the gun was not loaded with bullets. Meanwhile, Tim, the aide that spied on Vincent, finally found that Vincent removed not the machine's consciousness, but a piece of battery. The piece Vincent showed him during the operation was a battery backup to the machine's GPS. Thompson immediately orders the termination of Vincent and the machine. Vincent was rescued by the machine from the chair where he was strapped. The cyborgs seemed to be working with them, that leads Vincent to suspect that the cyborgs is using a communication for themselves. This was confirmed by the machine. She tells him it's the new world standard and that Vincent belongs to the old world. Then fighting between the facility's guards and the cyborgs ensued. Wait, it suddenly came to me, I have to remind you that this is Movie Monkey Channel. The choice is yours to hit this one, and this, and that one there, so notations will appear on your device. Now, going back to the story. Vincent went to Area 6 to free other cyborgs and to attach James' arms. Thompson starts deactivating the cyborgs through his computer. But, some cyborgs could not be deactivated because somebody overrides his command. Vincent started deactivating the quantum computer, but Tim was there to stop him. However, James was on the rescue and had Tim's arm broken in the harshest way. The machine's body were impervious to guards' bullets. They were a noodle against the machine's armor. Thompson commands a voice call to the security system to blast up the doors, but every time somebody overrides his command. It was Suri who overrides Thompson's command through his implant. Thompson shoots Suri. Then, he shoots the machine. But it was useless on her armor. Thompson throws a grenade. The machine was quick to pick it up, then threw it to the door where Thompson escapes. Thompson was badly wounded by the blast but still tried to delete Vincent's daughter's scans. However, the machine reveals to him that Suri already changed the passcode for it. The machine approached Thompson, who tries to command her. When the machine did not budge, Thompson later begs for his life. The machine promises Thompson, he will not be killed, rather, she'll only make him die inside. Thompson's skull was broken when the machine pressed her fingers on his temples. The brain scans of Vincent's daughter was stored by the machine in the computer system inside her. The story ends. On their way out, Vincent gives Paul Dawson's mother all the documents regarding his son. Vincent and the machine was finally on the cliff, which Vincent previously told the machine they used to visit. Vincent speaks with his daughter on a tablet computer but somewhat refuses and rather asks to play with the machine instead, which she calls now her mom.